Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tito Figueroa. I'm an MSOT student at Kaiser University, Fort Lauderdale campus, and I am nearing the end of my program finally. Today, I just want to discuss with you some approaches and some things I did before I started the program that kind of helped me reach the finish line here that's soon approaching. So the first thing was basically just setting up some goals and kind of setting the foundation up for success. For me, that came in the form of having discussions and coming to an agreement and a mutual agreement with my loved ones. Before I started this journey, this MSOT journey at Kaiser, I made sure I sat down with family, friends, loved ones, and just basically just let them know that this journey, this 2-year journey, was gonna be difficult, and it was going to be something that asked a lot of me, and it was going to be time consuming, and there was going to be moments throughout the program where maybe I wouldn't be able to be there as a friend or be there as a son, or miss those parties and miss those celebrations just because the main goal was to successfully complete this program. So for me, it was very important to have those conversations with those people, those important people in my life, so that we were kind of all on the same page and all had that same goal of just kind of supporting me throughout this process. So there weren't any surprises. In addition, another important goal for me was to throughout this program, was to have that balance between working, my academics, and then also the daily roles of my life. It was very important that I continued working because, I had bills to pay, I have a family to support. It was also very important to obviously, do well in my academics. And it was also very important for me to be, a good father, a good boyfriend, a good son, a good friend. So those daily roles, I kind of wanted to find balance and just manage my time effectively throughout all the different roles I had in my life. So how did these goals and approaches align with the norms and the standards of OT practice? In the OTPF4, it mentions a lot of just occupational balance. Also in the Code of Ethics, it mentions, a lot of occupational balance, and it also mentions beneficence, which is just when we're talking about a patient, just what benefits the patient. And when I'm talking about myself, is what's most beneficial for me, what's going to make, enhance my overall well-being. And in this case, it was, just making sure that I was present in all the roles in my life. How have I advocated for clients using the skills that I learned throughout this program? Well, more recently, completing my clinical rotations, I have recommended ergonomic modifications for certain clients. I have also recommended home modifications for similar clients. And I have gone as far as even recommending adaptive equipment. So these are all skills that I learned throughout, lectures and labs throughout the program, where I felt comfortable enough hearing what the patient was talking about, listening, and then kind of making recommendations based off that, or seeing them myself in person and then kind of just going based off that and making recommendations. So how am I reaching my intended goals? Well, I'm reaching my intended goals basically by checking in with myself, checking in with my loved ones, with my coworkers, with my friends, with my family, checking in throughout the program, checking in on my grades, with my job, just making sure that I am hitting all these roles successfully, and that I'm doing a good job in all of them. How am I assessing my personal and professional goals? So again, just by not being content professionally and always trying to better myself, whether it's taking CEUs, whether it's getting out of my comfort zone, whether it's stepping up in leadership roles whenever the opportunity arises. Those are ways in which I'm assessing my personal growth regarding my goals. Just checking in with everyone, checking in with myself. And that's worked out for me throughout the program. Now, some strategies regarding how I have demonstrated and maintained leadership as an OT student has just been basically implementing the Code of Ethics, core values, And then just always keeping the OTPF4 handy and always referring to the OTPF4. And it helps not even just in academics, but it helps in daily life. It helps at work. It helps with a bunch of things, because the principles and those core values, they hold a lot of truth, not just in one academic scenario, but also even in life. Again, just checking in with everyone, with my cohort, building relationships and establishing good rapport with clinical instructors, with fieldwork educators, the staff at Kaiser, my cohorts, not just my own, but others. Things like that have really helped me develop a leadership role within throughout my occupational therapy student lifestyle at Kaiser, to the point where I was elected as student representative for a while, and then that led to being elected as a student ambassador, where I actually spoke to cohorts basically about what we're talking about now, just some tips and some advice and some goals that I had that worked for me when I first started this journey. As an OTR, I plan on continuing to demonstrate leadership qualities and, taking up leadership roles whenever they present themselves, because again, that's a good way to challenge myself, get out of my comfort zone, and essentially that's what I want to do most, is never just be happy with where I'm at in OT, and just always challenging myself, and not knowing the answer to the questions, and really listening and learning from others, and just really just becoming a better overall therapist is one of my long-term goals. But now that graduation is approaching, I'm a few weeks away from walking and graduating. A couple of big things that are coming up is, of course, NBCOT certification and state licensure, which for me is going to be in the state of Florida. As far as for the NBC certification, I obviously have to submit an application for OTR. For the OTR exam, I have to pay the fee. And of course, I have to request my school to send my transcript to the NBCOT. Once they review all of that, they would send me something called a ATT letter. And once I receive that ATT letter and my name matches my ID and I'm good to go, I can actually schedule my test. And then once I pass my boards, I technically have my credentials as an OTR. Once I have those credentials, I do have to renew them every 3 years. And the way you renew them is by completing at least 36 professional developmental units. And those come in the form of just like classes, kind of like you would do your CEUs. For Florida State licensure, you visit the Florida Board of OT, of Occupational Therapy. You submit your application with them. You just basically follow the steps. There might be some fingerprinting requirements, some background check requirements. You just have to follow the steps, provide all the documents they need. And then once you're approved, you are legally allowed to practice occupational therapy and be a practicing OTR in the state of Florida. As far as for Florida State licensure, the renewal, it's similar but a little different than as the NBCOT certification. It's not every 3 years, it's actually every 2 years, and it's 26 CEUs versus the certification, which was 36. Again, that was my plan in the last 2 years. That kind of helped me out, and that's just some extra information once you guys finally reach the end. One thing I do want to leave you guys with is a quick story. When I first started this program, when I was in orientation for this program, I remember one of my professors, Dr. Casamano, she came in to speak to us during orientation. And I remember she shared a quote with us, and it always stuck with me. And I remember I came home and I wrote it down after that week and after I went to orientation. And it's been on my dry erase board on my fridge ever since. I haven't erased it. And that quote was something along the lines of pressure is a privilege. And the way I interpreted that was that although we do go through a lot of obstacles in this program, although a lot of sacrifices will be made and you're going to feel a lot of pressure throughout these 2 years, at the end of the day, the goal is to become practicing occupational therapists, and that is a privilege. And that's an amazing privilege to have, to be able to go out there every day and help people and change lives. So I've always kept that in the back of my mind, that this pressure that I have felt these last 2 years is a privilege, and I'm very lucky to be in this opportunity to feel this pressure. So thank you so much for listening, guys, and have a good one.